the difficulty in what they were doing is just so impressive.
Yeah.
I just loved that. It was like watching the changing of the guard. I literally was like watching it happen in the middle of one particular set, and it was those guys. And so I basically also told them, I very rarely do it, but I'm always like, hey, anytime you guys want to come, just hit me up and we'll make it happen. Because to me, they represent a lot about what is so impressive in what's going on in the jazz crew and the jazz world these days.
It is time.
Up next, we're going to be turning an eye into the current lineup for the Newport Jazz Fest. EJ, why don't you tell us all about it?
Yeah, well, I thought I'd go ahead and bring us some DOMi and JD Beck.
Love them.
So,
yes.
Love these two. I love the youth getting into this and keeping it going. And
it's so awesome.
Their abilities, DOMi freaks me out every time I watch her.
Yeah.
Every single time I watch her play, and same with JD Beck. Amazing duo. And I'd say let's just get into it. This is Nord Live Sessions released in 2020. DOMi and JD Beck. This is BC Invaders.
She's so quick. So tight.
Unbelievable. I like how she's also playing the bass.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Look at all the toys he has.
It was crazy. And just like how effortless they make it look too.
Youth.
Such a huge sound for only two people. So nuts.
It'd be kind of crazy if you had the duo, Vento and Russo, and then these guys.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I actually have them on the same day as Joe Russo's Almost Dead this year.
Mm-hmm.
at Jazz. But I remember I think it was in 2019, I had JD and DOMi at Newport Jazz, and it was kind of one of those things. Like when I first bought Trey Anastasio to Folk, I wanted to. I remember running out and watching that beginning of that set, because you had a lot of kind of the older jazz crew that, you know, like was into that Duke Ellington stuff we played earlier, right? And they came because they were curious, and it was fascinating to see the true musical omnivores of that, because there are these older generation of jazz fans that sat through JD and DOMi's entire set, which was very much like that, like super cool, disjointed, harsh, direct, good pace, like very clear, you know. Think of what we were listening to the Duke Ellington and that, right? Same festival, just a couple of years apart, right? Like 50 plus. So like 60 plus. So, but what was fascinating is some, like the jaws dropped on some of those hardcore jazz elders when they were in the audience watching that set, dropped. But then there were some of those people who just got up and fucking were infuriated and just walked out.
Wow.
And I was like, but that actually made me feel like, hell yeah, because there was also these kind of like gummy eating, you know, ragtag crew of like new jazz fans that, you know, were just totally just so appreciative of the tightrope act that we just kind of were listening to. You know, they understood that is the difficulty in what they were doing is just so impressive. I just loved that. It was like watching the changing of the guard. You know, I literally was like watching it happen in the middle of one particular set, and it was those guys. And so I basically also told them, I very rarely do it, but I'm always like, hey, anytime you guys want to come, just hit me up and we'll make it happen. Because to me, they represent a lot about what is so impressive in what's going on in the jazz crew and the jazz world these days.
And that's definitely something I wanted to ask you about, and you went into it without me asking, is like what the older generation of jazz musicians would think of DOMi and JD Beck, you know?
I think it's split. It's very, to me, it's polarizing. It's binary. Yeah. It's not a lot of gray. People were like, oh my God, they're freaking epic. And then there are others who just were like, I mean, they don't even want to. Like what is, not only like what is this, but like why is this? You know, why, like it's to your is what is this, but it's also like, why are you doing this? This is like, you know, some kind of thing. And you know, it's always very easy to, from the cheap seats, of which I feel I'm usually sitting in, to be like, well, yeah, I mean, if you saw Miles Davis from when Miles Davis started to where Miles Davis ended, Miles played Newport, I don't know, 10 times or something. And every one of those sets, if you look back, are just, they're not comparable to the one before it. They're completely revolutionized every time.
Right.
So like, you know, look, man, progress, right? If Dylan doesn't go electric, do you think we're all just listening to Peter, Paul, and Mary?
Right.
Like, you know, things got to happen.
Even like going back to even to John Coltrane, you know, he went off into space there for a while, and you know, I think he'd probably like it. I think he'd probably be like, he could see the value in it, you know.
I mean, the ones who break the
lost your audio.
Yeah, I said the ones who break the mold, the ones who's happening. They're the ones who get it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that change, I think change is good, you know, and some people, they don't want, especially when you have, you know, a storied, legendary setting, they want things to be a certain way and a certain aesthetic. And I feel like breaking the mold and moving forward, like you can still do that while maintaining the integrity of, you know, what you're trying to build.
Yeah, absolutely.
They actually asked me before their set, they're like, can we just do it? Like, go for it? Because remember, Newport happens during the day. It's over at sunset. And I don't think they are used to playing a lot of kind of earlier sets. And, you know, they have a couple of funny parts where it gets a little, racy. And I looked at them almost with disdain. I was like, this is Newport Jazz. Do whatever you like. My job is just to give you the safe space to play. It's you guys. It's up to you to do whatever the hell you want. And like, I can't promise you they'll love it, but if you give me anything that is watered down, I'm going to be pissed about it. That's the last thing I said to them before they went on the stage, actually.
And they're like,
I was
all
like,
right.
I was very thankful they were there, but I was like, do not hold back because
Yeah,
you're
do
worried
it.
that this audience isn't going to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
that's all the encouragement that I would need if I was doing that show. Just give them a little pat on the back, and you're like, you just go for it.
Just do it.
Nice.
Life's short.
Well, that was a good one, and I know that a lot of people are excited to see them again at the upcoming event, and so it should be quite the spectacle to see that.
Especially since they now know what to expect, and they can come and take it to even a deeper place.